This is Lee Solden. I'm going to invite you to learn Italian from me. This is a type of natural language acquisition that I kind of invented myself. More like just ran into it. Over my course of learning many languages and teaching many languages, I tried some different things here and there, and things kind of like practically hit me over the head before I realized what was happening. I mean, completely unexpected, but one discovery led to another, and long story short, found a way to learn a language really fast. Um, People ask me, well, where's the proof? You're not fluent in anything. Well, I'm studying a dozen languages, interested in several more besides that. So I'm scattering my learning quite a bit. Besides that, I'm teaching all these languages. So anyway, I decided about a month ago to start putting stuff on YouTube. And this week, I've went and decided, wait a second. Every time I sit down and teach somebody a language, one-on-one, that's me teaching one person, right? I'm going to start making YouTube videos and explaining to my students one at a time. I'm aimed at one student, right? But it's going to be on a YouTube video. Then I have my student watch the YouTube video where I explain, why everything in Italian, for instance, in this case, means what it is. I mean, what it does. So, sentence by sentence from the beginning of an audiobook, I'm going to explain it to my student, but that's going to leave a YouTube video for everyone else to watch and learn Italian from the same material, right? So my goal here, I'm going to I got 4 of them started. So I've started German, Spanish, Portuguese, and no, I started French, sorry. Okay, I started French, Spanish, and German so far. I've already started teaching Dutch and English on the same my channel. So I got many more to go. Today it's Italian. Okay. Um, I teach by natural language acquisition. This means as it happens, the thing I stumbled upon was just natural language acquisition. But here's the difference. I never knew what natural language acquisition was, even. And as I come across things, I worked on optimizing everything I come across. And I came up with this system that just simply works. That you very quickly pick up language. It's called ear first, in that you don't learn anything, not a single word to start out with. You start learning you start teaching your ear how to pick a language up, and it's quick. And how would I know this? Completely by accident. Okay. So if you want to hear all about this, go to my channel. I have like 7 videos on there. Accelerated immersion. Look for that channel. Excuse me. Look for that playlist, and you can read all about my history of how I stumbled upon this stuff and what I did with it and whatnot and so forth. And but the bottom line is it has 3 parts. Okay. The first part of it is the last thing I stumbled into. Okay. Well, not the last thing. I said the second part is the last thing I stumbled into. The first part of it, surrounding yourself with a language, I've been doing that for a few years, but not knowing what I was doing. Okay. I was doing it with Spanish for a long time, and then all kinds of languages, Italian for several months. Wasn't getting anywhere. Those several months working on Italian, I beat myself to death on Italian, like 14 hours a day for like 4 months, and I wasn't really getting anywhere. Really, the way I was doing it, all basically conventional study, looking up stuff in the dictionary, couldn't hear no Italian. Couldn't hear any language I studied on TV at full speed. Okay, but what I discovered by accident was that within just days you can hear Italian right, or French right, or German right, etc. And I called it ear tuning exercises. And once I discovered how to do it for one language by accident, Spanish, started with Spanish. I applied it to many other languages. Now, Italian kind of came in with the Spanish to some extent, but then later on, I did ear tuning directly for Spanish. Same thing with Brazilian Portuguese. Initially, I could hear the Brazilian Portuguese a whole lot better all of a sudden, but ear tuning directly to it was better. Um, so after Spanish, I ear tuned to French, then German. German brought in Dutch pretty good, but of course, again, went back and did ear tuning exercises directly for Dutch. Okay, so I'm always surrounding myself with the language to begin with, and then I started doing some activities, which turns out to be what ear tuning exercises are, without knowing what was going on. And my ear ended up tuning in first of all to common phrase videos, and I thought that was great. I started telling people, "Wow, I know how to tune into common phrase videos." A friend of mine sent me a full speed audiobook in Spanish. That means rather than common phrases, someone continually talking for an hour, right? And I started playing around with that, doing the same things I'd been doing with the common phrase videos, not thinking that would possibly, I had no idea that this stuff would work on full speed speech. But I thought maybe I could hear a little better if I tried the same techniques. It turns out it doesn't matter if you're working with common phrase videos or full speed speech. Either way, you'll tune in the same amount of time. So it's crazy to spend any time working on common phrases or one word at a time. You can almost instantaneously be hearing Italian correctly. When I say instantaneously, I mean like, okay, I'm going to tell you to go like a week just listening to Italian. Get your ear used to it, right? But it should not take any of your time, because I'm going to tell you to do that while you're eating, or you're listening to your favorite music or favorite program on Netflix, whatever. Not in Italian, mind, just whatever you want, whatever you're enjoying. Have the Italian playing nearby. Okay. Then I'm going to go to step 2, which is ear tuning exercises. That is simply having you listen to the same 30 seconds of Italian 120 times a day to tune your ear into it. Half the time you'll be reading my ear tuning syllables with your eyes. You'll be following those ear tuning syllables. Half the time you close your eyes and listen carefully. 3 days of this on top of surrounding yourself with Italian in the passive listening, bam, all of a sudden you hear Italian good, pretty darn good. It's not native after 3 days, but keeps getting better. You just keep doing a little bit of ear tuning, a little bit of ear tuning. At this point, though, you're plenty good enough to start learning Italian by ear. Okay, now back to the first discovery that I made. I picked up a bunch of Greek by accident because I just listened to a bunch of common phrase videos on Greek, one particular one a lot, thinking just I'd get my ear used to Greek, right? Well, I learned the Greek. I looked at it a little bit, and then they say the English sentence and the Greek sentence. I wasn't not paying any attention to it. I was studying Hindi all week. I picked up the Greek, and I realized, wait a second, all you gotta do is lightly study something, then loop it, and you got it. You'll learn it, okay? But you have to be able to hear it right. And the Greek, I'd listened to it enough for my ear tuned into those common phrases, and so that as I was listening to it, I picked it up. Well, later on, a few months later, after that thing with the Greek, hey, I learned how to tune my ear into full speed speech and realized, wait a second, now I got it made. All I got to do is tune my ear into full speed speech and work with full speed videos, which puts way more input into your ear than common phrases. Okay. So that's about it altogether. So I'm going to use this video to post to instructions about, hey, what is passive listening? How do you get started in passive listening? Later, there'll be instructions about how to do ear tuning. I'll have put those there right away because, hey, maybe some of you have been doing what I'm doing or used to do, listen to Italian, but never did any good. Well, maybe you're ready to start ear tuning today. So I'll put those out there. I'll put those out there today. The instructions for ear tuning syllables, the audiobook that the ear tuning syllables go to. It's on YouTube, available to anybody. It's just the story of Pinocchio in Italian, 4.5 hours long. So that's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you everything. Front to back, exactly what they're saying in that story. Grammar comes later. You don't need a lot of grammar. You need to understand the story and understand it all by ear. And you'll be able to speak it all too, because half the time when I'm uh, having you absorb it by the light study, that means you're going to read it. Okay, this is step 3. After you get this good ear and you're still doing the ear tuning, you're still surrounding yourself with that same story that you used for ear tuning. Now you're picking it up because you're doing the associations of English words to Italian words. I do plan to teach this in many languages, by the way. I'm teaching Italian and German and teach it in whatever, several other languages, okay? Tomorrow? No, but I'll get around to it. Okay, so light study. Okay, no, it's not really studying at all. It's just the lightest studying is the very lightest look at what a sentence means in Italian before you listen to it 3 times while reading it, and then close your eyes, listen to it 3 more times. Then you look over the notes for the next sentence. What does this sentence mean? You understand what it means? Play it 3 times while reading it. Close your eyes, play it 3 more times. Next sentence. You're not studying. You don't care. You don't want to know what that sentence means further than the next 10 seconds, okay? I mean, you looked at it, okay, I know what it means, play it. You let your speech center do all the work. If you introduce yourself lightly to those meanings and then play it, your speech center captures all that and starts gifting you Italian overnight, puts it all together for you every night. Your speech center works on it. You keep waking up every morning, know more and more Italian, and you pretty soon know that whole audiobook. It's 4.5 hours long. It's a lot of Italian. And what do you do after that? Well, there's different ways to go, but I tell you what, can't hurt you to be able to understand 4.5 hours of Italian, right? Natural language acquisition theory is this. If you can understand that Italian and you keep listening to it, you'll want to start speaking it and you'll speak it correctly. You don't have to practice speaking Italian. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm not saying you just don't have to. If you listen to it long enough, you hear it just right, you will start speaking it correctly, because if you tried to say it wrong, you'd know it because you got that good of an ear for it. So, okay. Hey, get going on Italian. I got to tell you the first step. Look at just open up the video that I'm going to post to this to my video. Okay. Or you don't have to use, if you don't want to use my link, you just go over to YouTube and look up Pinnochio, Carlo Collodi. Start playing it. Get that Italian in your ear. Okay. And then just find a way to incorporate more and more and more listening to Italian in your life. That's it. Come back and when you feel like you're ready to try it and do the ear tuning. Now, right after I make this video, I'm going to make a second video where I'm going to say the ear tuning syllables slowly for people to be able to get used to them if they want to. It's not necessary for most people. Most people, they start doing the ear tuning. They're trying to follow my ear tuning syllables with their eyes. They can't do it because their ear's not tuned to Italian, so it's impossible. Which is probably why no one ever discovered this. It's impossible to do for anybody who's not tuned into Italian. But I found that if you continue to try just for a few hours, I only have you do ear tuning exercises 1 hour times 3 days, and you're going to start hearing Italian really good. Even though you can never actually follow the syllables, you're hearing the voice on the audiobook, right? And as each syllable spoken, you're supposed to have your eye on the right syllable on my ear tuning syllables. Well, you can't really do this, but you keep struggling and trying, right? Well, if you don't like struggling so much, go to my second video that I'm about to make and just listen, just let that play in the background, and you get really familiar with it's a 30-second sequence of syllables, right? And then go do the ear tuning exercises, the actual ear tuning exercises. It might be a little easier on you. And of course, if you have problems seeing, then that's how you got to do it. If you can't really read my ear tuning syllables very well, or have a lot of trouble reading them, just loop my next video until you feel you're getting pretty sure how they go, familiar with them, right? And at least get familiar with some of them, a stretch here, a stretch there, so that as you go to do the real exercises, you're gonna, if you lose where you are by ear, mind you, then you can kind of catch back up because you got some known territory to jump up to. So people who can see well, they're going to be told to follow the ear tuning syllables with their eyes. There's no speaking out loud involved here. And then close their eyes and listen carefully and try to follow it. Okay. So they're going to half the time they're not using their eyes anyway. And I tell people the worse your eyesight is, the more you concentrate on the closed eyes part and less time on the reading the ear tuning syllables part. Okay. And of course, then if you just don't if you can't see at all, and if it's like you can read Braille, but it's not that fast, and it's kind of tough to keep up. Hey, just get used to the ear tuning syllables, okay? And that's it for now. My name's Lee Solden. I'm on Facebook Messenger if you want to say hi, and goodbye.